Lin Dong sat cross-legged in midair, his brow furrowed as his pitch-black, deep eyes opened slowly, resembling dark vortexes. Within these mysterious eyes, an enigmatic force swirled, a fusion of thunderous light and profound darkness. The deep void and violent thunder intertwined, radiating two ancient, boundless energies, manifested perfectly within that mysterious gaze. This was the eye of the Ancestral Talisman, born from the powers of two Ancestral Talismans. Lin Dong, though you now wield the power of two Ancestral Talismans, the sheer force behind this eye of the Ancestral Talisman is immense and exceedingly hard to control. You may find it difficult to unleash it to its full potential right now, Yin quickly cautioned, sensing the surge of power within Lin Dong. The eye of the Ancestral Talisman is typically only achievable after reaching an exceptional mastery over an Ancestral Talisman. In the shattered space back then, the Devouring Master nearly obliterated the 10th King with the Devouring Eye's strength. Lin Dong understood that, even with the eye of the Ancestral Talisman, his own power could hardly match that of the Devouring Master. But he held a unique advantage that the Devouring Master lacked. He possessed not only the Devouring Ancestral Talisman, but also the Thunder Ancestral Talisman. The Devouring Eye relied solely on pure devouring power, while Lin Dong's eye of the Ancestral Talisman merged both devouring and thunder forces. This combination made it extraordinarily challenging to control, yet its potential power was bound to be terrifying. Lin Dong understood all of this, but there was no time to hesitate. The Yuan sect's three giants were not ordinary foes. Now, the three had fused with the great heavenly fiend demon through some sinister method, their strength surpassing that of ordinary reincarnation powerhouses. Lin Dong's brothers, Little Mink and Little Yin, had held on through various means, but both were heavily injured. Without a decisive counterattack, this battle could turn disastrous. This fight was as brutal as the one 3 years ago, but now they had the power to turn the tide instead of merely fleeing. Exhaling a deep breath, Lin Dong glanced at the bruised and battered Little Mink and Little Yin. Though both still radiated fierce energy, fatigue was evident in their eyes. They had given everything in their struggle against the three giants. Despite their exhaustion, neither showed any signs of surrender. The three giants were indeed formidable, but they would not allow the tragedy of 3 years ago to repeat. I understand, Lin Dong replied calmly, and Yin fell silent, knowing Lin Dong's resolute nature. Once Lin Dong set his mind on something, no one could dissuade him. We're brothers. I'm the eldest, and I've already let them suffer 3 years ago. If we can't defeat the three giants this time, I have no right to call myself their leader. Lin Dong smiled faintly, then directed his gaze toward the great heavenly fiend demon, whose three sinister faces now looked at him with a flicker of dread. You old dogs have 3 years of debts to repay, Lin Dong murmured, as the eye of the Ancestral Talisman between his brows grew darker, his complexion turning pale at an alarming rate. Delusional fool! The three giants sneered, their voices shrill yet tinged with seriousness. They could sense the formidable danger emanating from the eye on Lin Dong's brow. Though the trio was far from their peak after Lin Dong's previous assault and Little Mink and Little Yan's relentless attacks, they still harbored immense confidence. They could not fathom losing to Lin Dong and his companions in their current combat form. Boom! A torrent of demonic aura erupted from within the great heavenly fiend demon, accompanied by roars that sounded like savage beasts. Thick, demonic aura condensed in its massive claws as its enormous body began to shrink. But as its form diminished, an overwhelmingly terrifying energy started to emanate from its hands. Seeing this, Little Mink and Little Yan's expressions changed. They sensed that the three giants were also unleashing a devastating final attack. While demonic aura surged madly around the three giants, Lin Dong remained eerily calm, as if shrouded in utter stillness. The commotion on this side was simply too intense. Even the distant, chaotic battlefield couldn't help but draw countless gazes toward it. Everyone here knew that the most critical point of this war lay between Lin Dong and his two brothers against the three giants. Whichever side fell, it would be a fatal blow. What terrifying demonic aura! Elder Zhu Li, Lu Qing, and the others had grave expressions on their faces. They could feel the horror of the great heavenly fiend demon's assault. If it were them, they probably wouldn't stand a chance. Can Lin Dong really withstand this? They gazed at Lin Dong, who sat quietly in midair across from the overwhelming demonic aura, a trace of concern flashing through their minds. Boom! As the colossal body of the great heavenly fiend demon shrank to only 100 feet tall, it finally stopped. At this moment, thick demonic aura flowed from its demonic palm like a river, slowly dripping, causing the surrounding space to shatter bit by bit. Haha! The three giants laughed maniacally, their voices filled with brutality. Then, their eyes flashed with murderous intent as a thunderous roar echoed. 10,000 demons underworld river, corrosion of all things. Boom! The thick, demonic river erupted with a thunderous roar, and then it surged forward with overwhelming demonic aura, sweeping toward Lin Dong with a momentum that seemed to engulf the heavens and earth. Wherever the demonic river passed, it seemed as though the very heavens and earth were being torn apart. The sheer power of the assault caused even Little Mink and Little Yan's expressions to change. In the distance, even Ing Huan and the others couldn't help but tense up. Countless eyes focused on the scene. At this moment, the rest of the battlefield seemed insignificant. If Lin Dong were to fall to the three giants, the situation would likely turn extremely dire for them. The demonic river surged forth, and within just a few breaths, it had already enveloped Lin Dong. At this moment, his body suddenly trembled slightly, and a pale pallor spread across his face at an alarming speed. Even his long, slender hands began to turn white. Yet, in contrast to the pallor that covered his body, the eye of the Ancestral Talisman at the center of his forehead grew increasingly bright and deep. Eye of the Ancestral Talisman, purifying demon light. A weak voice gently emerged from Lin Dong's mouth. His eyes gradually closed, and the eye of the Ancestral Talisman at his brow abruptly opened wide. A black beam of light, no larger than a palm, silently shot forth. Compared to the vast demonic river, this beam of light was like a firefly beside the bright moon. Yet, it did not hesitate. The light pierced through space in a flash and rushed straight into the demonic river. Boom! Just as the enormous demonic river was about to crash into Lin Dong, it suddenly froze in place. A drop of demonic water, barely half a foot from Lin Dong's face, stopped in midair, unable to advance any further. Buzz! A humming sound emanated from the demonic river. Then, everyone felt a peculiar ripple spreading from within it. As the ripple spread, the vast demonic river began to dissolve at an astonishing speed, and the overwhelming demonic aura dissipated into nothingness. In just a few short breaths, the demonic river, which even a reincarnation stage powerhouse couldn't resist, mysteriously vanished completely. How is that possible? The once ferocious expressions of the three giants froze in that instant. They stared in shock and disbelief at the scene before them. Whoosh! While they stood dumbfounded, a tiny beam of light emerged from the dissipated demonic river, shooting straight toward the great heavenly fiend demon. Upon seeing the beam of light, the three giants were filled with terror. After witnessing its earlier power, they no longer dared to take it lightly. Roar! The great heavenly fiend demon roared furiously, swinging its demonic aura totem pole down fiercely at the tiny beam of light. Sizzle! As the beam of light struck the totem pole, cracks spread across its surface. In the blink of an eye, the massive totem pole, filled with immense demonic energy, exploded into pieces. The beam of light, unstoppable, shot forward and, under the horrified gazes of the three giants, pierced through the great heavenly fiend demon's massive body. In the sky, Lin Dong's pale face slowly lifted, and the eye of the Ancestral Talisman at his brow quickly faded away. He looked toward the three giants, whose faces were filled with terror, and a faint smile appeared on his lips. You've lost. As soon as Lin Dong's words fell, cracks of light suddenly appeared on the enormous body of the great heavenly fiend demon. Beams of light shot out from within the cracks. The three giants' faces turned ashen as they watched Lin Dong slowly raise his hand and gently clench his fist. Boom! Demonic aura surged skyward as the shrill screams of the three giants echoed throughout this realm of darkness. A blinding light, like a scorching sun, burst forth from where the great heavenly fiend demon had exploded. The thick, demonic aura around it met this radiance and, like snow encountering molten lava, melted away at an astonishing speed. After persisting for over 10 minutes, the light gradually faded, drawing countless tense gazes. As the glow dissipated, a massive demon corpse with only half its body intact lay on the ground, leaking dark, foul-smelling demon blood. Once mighty and indomitable, the great heavenly fiend demon now lay devoid of all life. Did we win? Countless powerful figures from the Yuan Sect Annihilation Alliance looked on in disbelief before erupting into triumphant cheers. Nearby, Little Mink and Little Yin also showed surprise. Returning to their normal forms and flashes of light, they remained wary, their eyes fixed on the demon's corpse. Suddenly, Lin Dong spat out a mouthful of blood, his already pale face growing even whiter, his entire aura weak and depleted. Big brother? Little Mink and Little Yin rushed over, with Little Yin supporting Lin Dong, worry etched in his voice. Lin Dong shook his head slightly, his dark eyes locked on the motionless demon corpse. His eyes narrowed. Although his movements were subtle, Little Mink noticed. Knowing Lin Dong's nature well, he felt a twinge of caution, and an intense wave of energy surged from him as he positioned himself protectively before Lin Dong. Second brother? Little Yin was taken aback. These old dogs aren't quite dead yet. Lin Dong's voice was hoarse, his exhaustion evident. Since inheriting the devouring master's legacy, he had never fought to such extremes. Hearing this, Little Yin's expression shifted, his body tensing. But they're close to it, Lin Dong remarked, clapping Little Yin on the shoulder and then turning to the demon's corpse below. What's wrong? Weren't you flaunting your strength just a moment ago? Playing dead now? Aren't you afraid you'll disgrace Yuan Sect's three giants? His words fell upon a silent response. The demon corpse didn't stir, not a hint of movement. Lin Dong's gaze grew colder. With a slight wave of his hand, "Humph!" Little Mink sneered, clasping his hands together. A purple-black crescent formed before him, then shot forward, slicing through the air towards the demon corpse. Just as the crescent was about to strike the corpse, a flash of black light burst out, deflecting the attack. Yet the black light too was forced back, taking form as the three giants of Yuan Sect. Their faces were even paler than Lin Dong's, their eyes dim, their auras nearly drained. The three giants glared at Lin Dong and his companions, their gazes flickering urgently. Well, so even Yuan Sect's three giants have learned to play dead like stray dogs. Little Mink jeered, his words laced with venom. The faces of the three giants twitched as they glowered, but without a word, they transformed into black light, attempting to flee into the ground. Trying to escape? Little Mink let out a derisive laugh, stomping his foot as purple-black light burst from the ground, throwing the three back. The three giants' power had clearly plummeted, rendering them no match even for Little Mink. Once again repelled, the three giants barely had time to react when Lin Dong raised his hand. An ancient stone monument flew out, expanding in the sky until it was thousands of feet tall. Suspended in the air, the great wilderness monument emitted a resonant hum. Light gathered at its base, forming an ancient array that began pressing down on the three giants. Under the glow of the monument, the bodies of the three giants felt like they were being stabbed by needles, sending waves of pain through them. As the monument descended, terror filled their eyes. They knew that if the great wilderness monument suppressed them, it would be their end. Lin Dong, do you really think we have no last resort? Must you drive us to mutual destruction? Tian Yuanzi's face contorted, his voice a mix of rage and desperation. Fine, you wretches. If you intend to annihilate the three of us, then everyone here will go down with us. Seeing Lin Dong's unwavering resolve, Tian Yuanzi and his two companions exchanged venomous glances. They shared a quick look and, gritting their teeth, nodded at one another. If that's the case, let's all die here. The three brought their palms together with force, spitting out dark blood as their gazes dulled, and their bodies began to swell at an alarming rate. "Back up now," Lin Dong shouted in alarm at the sight. But Tian Yuanzi and his companions only sneered. "Too late. Die, all of you." A cruel expression surfaced on their faces as a dark liquid seeped out of their bodies. Then, with a resounding boom, they detonated. Boom. An indescribable wave of demonic aura surged from the three of them, obliterating everything within thousands of feet. Little Mink and Little Yin were blasted back, coughing up blood from the sheer force. At the critical moment, Lin Dong's sleeve flicked, summoning Xintian Palace to shield him. But the demonic energy was too overwhelming. Xintian Palace dimmed quickly under the impact and retreated back into his body. With Xintian Palace gone, Lin Dong found himself fully exposed to the onslaught of demonic energy. Given his condition, he could barely muster the strength to resist, gritting his teeth as he forced his primordial energy to hold against the blow. But just as he was about to brace himself, he felt a sudden chill envelop him. A slender, icy cool hand gently encircled his waist, and then he was swiftly pulled back. The sound of wind howled past his ears as Lin Dong opened his eyes to see strands of icy blue hair trailing before him. Huan had wrapped one arm around him, her other hand swiftly forming intricate seals. A powerful frost emanated from her palm, conjuring a series of massive ice shields in front of them. Bang! Bang! The ice shields shattered under the relentless demonic aura, yet more immediately formed in their place. The sky filled with the sound of shattering ice, as Huan carried Lin Dong backward, dodging the waves of demonic energy. However, the explosive power of the three reincarnation powerhouses' self-detonation far exceeded Lin Dong's expectations. Even with Huan's intervention, the demonic energy rapidly closed in on them. "Move aside." Just as the demonic energy was about to engulf them, a cool voice called out from behind. Huan hesitated briefly, then quickly maneuvered Lin Dong out of the way. A figure clad in white swept forward from behind them. Elder Zhu, Lu Qing, and a host of powerful fighters followed, unleashing a torrent of primordial energy that formed an enormous, 1,000-foot-wide energy barrier in front of them. Boom! The demonic energy crashed like waves against the energy barrier, causing it to tremble violently. Faces paled as the warriors shouted in unison, pouring every ounce of their primordial energy into reinforcing the barrier. Bang! 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 The demonic energy battered the energy barrier, which shook under each impact. But thanks to the combined efforts of the assembled warriors, the energy barrier ultimately held, fending off the terrifying onslaught. As the demonic energy's assault began to wane, everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. The energy barrier slowly dissipated. "Are you all right?" Huan asked anxiously, seeing that the danger had passed. Lin Dong's pallor betrayed his exhaustion, making her voice catch with worry. Ling Qingzhu and the others gathered around, their eyes full of concern. "I'm fine, just overextended," Lin Dong replied with a faint smile, though his ashen face and weakened state left little room for reassurance. Normally resilient as he was, they had never seen him so drained. From a distance, the blood-soaked Little Mink and Little Yin approached. Seeing Lin Dong safe, they exhaled in relief. Little Yin wiped the blood from his face, scanning the devastated landscape. "Those three old dogs should be truly dead now, right?" Lin Dong wiped the blood from his mouth, his brows furrowing as he surveyed the demonic aura-filled world. Just as he was about to speak, a sinister laugh echoed across the realm. "Haha, don't celebrate too soon. Though we have perished, the demonic energy has fully permeated this demonic banquet world. From this moment on, it's a realm of demonic aura, and none of you will escape. You'll be slowly consumed by the aura, one by one. Enjoy your doom." The eerie laughter resounded, gradually fading away. As the last vestiges of the Yuan sect's three giants hearing the harsh words of this guy before his death, Lin Dong and the others' expressions changed slightly. They quickly turned around and saw that the demonic corpses in the sky began to fall one after another. Waves of demonic aura quickly surged out of their bodies and spread across the area. "Look above." A serious expression appeared on Huan's face as she spoke softly. Lin Dong hurriedly looked up and immediately saw a dense, impenetrable demonic aura barrier spreading across the sky, enveloping the entire area. On top of the demonic aura barrier, countless eerie demonic runes writhed, and this barrier seemed to have cut off any connection between this world and the outside. The crowd looked at this scene, their faces gradually paling. The thick demonic aura barrier blocked out the sky, descending from a distant place, resembling an overturned bowl, trapping everyone within. Looking at the demonic aura surging within the barrier, their faces grew paler. They could feel that this demonic world had formed on its own after Tianyunzi and the others' self-detonations, along with the disintegration of countless demonic corpses. It had become a small world of demonic aura, seamless and without flaw. The once fiercely intense battle had now become eerily quiet. The demonic corpses, once bloodthirsty, had completely vanished. In the sky, the experts of the Yuan Sect Annihilation Alliance looked at each other, their faces full of concern as they gazed up at the demonic aura barrier. A sense of unease began to spread. What now? EngSubs asked, noticing the unrest spreading among the crowd. The demonic aura here is too dense. With our strength, it doesn't matter much, but ordinary experts who stay too long will likely be corroded by the demonic energy, EngShuanzu replied. The three giants of Yuan Sect really have some tricks up their sleeves. In the past, my heavenly demon mink tribe fought with them, but back then, Yuan Sect needed to gather numerous supersects from the Eastern Mystery region to challenge us. I never expected they'd become this powerful, Elder Zhu Li of the Great Yin Dynasty said with a sigh. They are using the power of the alien demons. But this method will ultimately lead to their own destruction, Lin Dong said with a pale face, his eyes fixed on the thick demonic aura barrier. We need to find a way to break through it. I'll give it a try. Let's see how powerful this so-called demonic banquet world really is. Lu Qing grinned, his eyes sharp. In an instant, blue light surged around him, and the sound of a dragon's roar filled the air. Thousands of blue dragon patterns surged, and with a low shout, they transformed into a massive azure dragon that soared towards the demonic aura barrier, crashing violently into it. Boom! A ring of blue light spread out, and the barrier rippled before slowly calming down. Lu Qing's powerful attack seemed to have no effect at all. Seeing this, the others' expressions tightened. Lu Qing's face grew serious, and he shook his head, speaking in a deep voice. This really is something. Even someone as proud as him had to admit the power of the demonic banquet world, which showed just how tricky the current situation was. Lin Dong's brows furrowed. He was currently in a weakened state and clearly couldn't make a move. Plus, with the surrounding demonic aura spreading, even with the devouring Ancestral Talisman, he wouldn't be able to absorb it, which meant his recovery would be significantly delayed. Sect Master Ing, Brother Lin Dong, what should we do now? Asked Imojian, the sect master of the Sword Sect, along with some other experts who had swiftly approached. After witnessing Lin Dong's terrifying strength earlier, they clearly did not dare to show him any disrespect. Should we gather everyone and launch a joint attack to break this demonic banquet world? EngSubs suggested. That won't work. This region has likely been set up by Yuan Sect long ago, and with the three giants of Yuan Sect self-destructing, the demonic aura here has become a cycle. We may have many people, but they are disorganized. If we force an attack, the Yuan energy will only be assimilated by the demonic aura, making it even denser, Huan said with a slight shake of her head. To break this demonic banquet world, the fewer people, the better. But if there are fewer people, how can we possibly break this demonic banquet world? And right now, Lin Dong clearly can't move, EngShuanzu sighed. The group fell silent. Even Lu Qing's powerful attack had little effect. Who else could surpass Lu Qing in this place, aside from Lin Dong? I'll do it. In the silence, two female voices rang out simultaneously. Everyone turned to see that it was Ling Qingzhu and Ing Huan. Ing Huan was slightly taken aback when she heard Ling Qingzhu speak. Nothing can be judged by appearances alone, wouldn't you agree? Ling Qingzhu looked at Ing Huan's equally delicate yet icy face as she spoke. Ing Huanhuan's brows knitted slightly as her cold blue eyes fixed on Ling Qingzhu, clearly unconvinced by her words. Seeing the tension between the two women, the crowd looked momentarily surprised before casting a peculiar glance at Lin Dong, remaining silent. Ahem! Lin Dong cleared his throat under the weight of their curious stares and said, "Why don't you both attack together? Perhaps teaming up will give you a better chance." Only then did Ing Huanhuan avert her gaze from Ling Qingzhu, softly remarking, "I'll go first. You can step in as needed." Ling Qingzhu, naturally aloof and disinclined to compete with others, merely nodded after Ing Huanhuan made the offer, recognizing the gravity of the situation. Ing Huanhuan stepped forward, her graceful movements accompanied by a chilling aura radiating from her body. Instantly, the surrounding air froze, forming delicate frost flowers that drifted gently to the ground. The cold energy condensed around her, and Ing Huanhuan closed her eyes. Her icy blue hair began to lengthen, deepening to an even richer shade of blue, until it flowed behind her like a shimmering cascade of ice. Watching her transformation, Lin Dong couldn't help clenching his fist as her frosty blue hair continued to grow. Eternal ice-sealing halberd. Her crystalline voice, carrying an unrelenting chill, rang out. Ing Huanhuan's eyes snapped open as she traced a delicate icy rune in the air with her fingertip. A brilliant ice-blue light burst forth, and an exquisite, bone-chilling ice halberd rapidly took shape before her, its surface etched with intricate runes. Swish! The instant the ice halberd appeared, the air grew frigid, and Ing Huanhuan bit her tongue, releasing a drop of blood that fell onto the weapon, instantly dyeing it from icy blue to a dark red hue. A fierce coldness emanated from the halberd, filling the area. Go! Ing Huanhuan's eyes sharpened as she let out a cold command, sending the dark red halberd flying forward. Violent winds erupted, causing her long blue hair to billow. At that moment, her slender figure seemed like a blazing crimson flower, radiantly powerful. Whoosh! The dark red halberd tore through layers of demonic aura, crashing into a barrier of dark energy with a chilling impact. An overpowering frost began spreading from the point of impact, freezing the demonic aura in its path. Crack! A faint crack appeared in the barrier. Yet as the fissure widened, the dark red ice halberd, too, began to fracture, webbing with countless cracks. In mere moments, the fissure on the barrier stretched several meters, but just as it seemed poised to break through, the halberd shattered with a resounding bang. Ing Huanhuan let out a soft groan, a trace of blood appearing on her lips as her body trembled, then was flung backward. Lin Dong swiftly moved to catch her, his arm wrapping around her slender waist as he steadied her. Swish! At the same time, Ling Qingzhu darted forward. Stepping lightly in midair, she grasped her green-bladed sword, exuding a calm yet intense energy. Above her, a faint glow appeared, radiating an indescribable, powerful force. Is that? Lin Dong's companion, Yin, within him, reacted with clear shock to the unfamiliar aura. What is it? Lin Dong asked mentally, but Yin fell silent, leaving only a subtle tremor within the ancient talisman, a testament to his profound reaction. Sensing the unusual energy, Lin Dong refocused on Ling Qingzhu. He watched as she held her sword, raising it slowly before thrusting it forward with grace. There was no intense surge of primordial energy, only a thin, mysterious glow enveloping her sword. Even Lin Dong felt a chill against his skin. The sword released a thin blade of energy that passed unassumingly through the air, effortlessly reaching the cracked barrier where Ing Huanhuan's halberd had struck. With a flash, the sword's energy met the swirling demonic aura. A ray of sunlight pierced through the cracks, illuminating the space within. The influx of external primordial energy instantly disrupted the cycle of the demonic banquet world. Cracks rapidly spread across the light barrier, and with a loud boom, it shattered completely. Warm sunlight once again flooded the heavens and earth. The crowd stared at the brightness and the distant lush greenery, the feeling of having survived a catastrophe making them burst out in cheers. This battle, they had finally won. Lin Dong took a deep breath, activating the devouring force within him. The surrounding primordial energy surged into his body. Relishing the invigorating sensation, a relieved smile appeared on his face. It's finally over. EngSubs couldn't help but smile as well. The Yuan sect was destroyed, and with it, the war in the Eastern Mystery region could finally come to an end. The other powerhouses of the Eastern Mystery region were equally overjoyed. With the Yuan sect annihilated, their vengeance was fulfilled, and they could now remain here without further conflict. Ling Qingzhu's flawless face turned slightly pale. She glanced at EngSubs, who was held close in Lin Dong's arms, and then slowly sheathed her sword. Is everyone all right? Lin Dong, noticing the pallor on Ling Qingzhu's face, asked with some concern. Both Ling Qingzhu and EngSubs shook their heads. Just as they were about to speak, EngSubs' beautiful eyes suddenly narrowed. Lin Dong's expression changed as well. Slowly, he turned his gaze toward a distant peak. There, a shadowy figure stood, arms crossed behind his back. He was as motionless as a stone statue, exuding no discernible aura, yet his presence was unquestionably real. This eerie sensation made Lin Dong and the others tense up. After all these years of meticulous planning, it's a pity to see it all ruined like this. The shadowy figure gazed at Lin Dong and his companions, then let his eyes rest briefly on EngSubs. Smiling faintly, he said, "Ice Lord, it's been ages. I trust you've been well." His light laughter spread across the sky, drowning out the jubilant cheers of countless powerhouses below. The cheering ceased abruptly. Countless wary eyes turned towards the shadowy figure on the peak. Many powerhouses were already circulating their primordial energy, their gazes filled with caution. "Who are you?" EngSubs' eyes locked onto the figure as he asked gravely. Lin Dong stared intently at the shadow, his fists unconsciously clenching. Based on his earlier words, this individual was clearly an alien demon, and likely a high-ranking one. EngSubs' eyes turned icy. "A coward who hides in the shadows can't be anything good," she said coldly. Nearby, Elder Zhu Li and others had already gathered, their expressions filled with vigilance as they stared at the mysterious figure. The shadow chuckled softly and slowly raised his head. Under the sunlight, his face was revealed, youthful yet unervingly pale, with an androgynous air. His long, narrow eyes were pitch black, like the bottomless depths of an abyss. Between his brows was a brown demonic mark that extended to the corners of his eyes, exuding an eerie, ghostly aura. "Ah, I forgot. You probably don't recognize me now," he said with a faint smile. "Allow me to introduce myself, Fourth King of the Demon Emperor's Lock." Fourth King. Lin Dong's pupil shrank, and his expression turned grim. He quickly pulled EngSubs behind him, his gaze locked on the shadowy figure. In the shattered space earlier, he had encountered the 10th King of the Demon Emperor's Lock, whose terrifying strength left a lasting impression. Now, this person, ranking higher than the 10th King, must be even more formidable. I had expected Tianyuanzi and the others to deal with you. Who would have thought? Well, trash will always be trash. Such a waste of resources from the Demon Emperor's Lock. Fourth King chuckled softly. Lin Dong's face remained impassive as he rapidly activated his devouring force, absorbing and refining the surrounding primordial energy at an astonishing speed. "You must be Lin Dong," Fourth King said, his eyes narrowing slightly. "I've heard you've inherited the Devouring Master's legacy. No wonder Tianyuanzi and the others lost. The Devouring Master, even at my peak, was beyond my reach. His inheritor should indeed be extraordinary." Turning his gaze fully on Lin Dong, Fourth King smiled. "Are you trying to quickly recover your strength for a fight?" Lin Dong gave a faint smile in return. I did come here to clean up some nuisances. But running into the reincarnation of the Ice Lord, well, that's just my good fortune. If I kill you here, there might be no need for this second war between heaven and earth." The Fourth King gazed at EngSubs, smiling as he spoke. "Then try it." EngSubs' beautiful face turned cold as ice, a hint of killing intent flashing through her ice-blue eyes. "If you were truly the Ice Lord, I'd probably be fleeing by now. Unfortunately, The fourth king shook his head, feigning regret. Lin Dong narrowed his eyes at the fourth king, a dark light suddenly flickering within his gaze. The world before him shifted subtly, and the fourth king's form seemed to blur. Oh! Noticing Lin Dong's reaction, the fourth king's eyes flashed with surprise. He stared back at Lin Dong, chuckling. So you figured it out. No wonder Tian Yuanzi and the others fell to you. So, this isn't your true body. Lin Dong looked at the fourth king with a slight sigh of relief. This was merely a projection, yet the fact that he could summon such a powerful clone from who knows how far away was truly terrifying. Even if it's just a demonic clone, it's more than enough to deal with you, the fourth king said, as if reading Lin Dong's thoughts, and shook his head. Lin Dong smirked coldly, watching him. No need to bluff. Your alien demons have been hiding and lurking in this world, obviously wary of something. If you weren't, I imagine you would have taken this world by storm long ago. Afraid to show your real body, aren't you? I'd bet you're worried about the other ancient masters. The smile on the fourth king's face faltered for an instant. He then stared at Lin Dong, speaking softly, "You're quite perceptive. But even if you understand all this, what can you do? Killing you all here isn't exactly difficult, is it? As for the others, they're all deep in slumber. Who would even know what happens here?" The fourth king looked at Lin Dong mockingly, though an icy murderous intent flickered in his eyes. The demonic aura you alien demons possess is far too easy to detect. If you dared act openly, why go to such lengths to cultivate the Yuan sect? Lin Dong replied with a faint smile. You just want to watch humans destroy themselves for your own amusement. The fourth king lowered his arms, casting a cold glance at Lin Dong. Enough talk. Since you're so confident in your ability to protect yourselves, come and prove it. Great wilderness scripture. The moment he spoke, Lin Dong stomped hard on the ground. A mysterious wave spread out, causing the earth to tremble as vast energy surged into his body. What a cunning brat. The fourth king couldn't help but laugh, though his smile brimmed with killing intent. He realized Lin Dong had been preparing his move during their conversation, secretly accelerating his recovery. But that only makes me want to kill you more. As the fourth king's voice fell, his figure suddenly appeared not far ahead, his movements as ethereal as a wisp of black smoke. Kill him. As he neared, the countless experts of the Yuan Sect Annihilation Alliance roared, launching a storm of primordial energy attacks that blanketed the fourth king. Swish. Yet the fourth king's figure slipped ghost-like through the barrage, not a single attack landing on him. Just as he bypassed the storm of attacks, an overwhelming cold burst forth. Huanhuan's slender hands formed a seal, and in an instant, the freezing energy coalesced into a blizzard, closing in on the fourth king's form, transforming him into an ice sculpture in moments. Look out! As the ice sculpture took shape, a cool voice called out from behind Huanhuan. A blade of light shot forward, stabbing fiercely into the void. Clang! The blade met resistance, sparks flying as metal clashed against metal. A figure appeared out of nowhere. It was the fourth king, holding the blade between his fingers, and he glanced at Huanhuan and Ling Qingzhu with a faint smile. Boom! A powerful radiance descended from the sky. The fourth king frowned, looking up to see a massive, intricate formation coalescing overhead. A vast surge of primordial energy and mental force suddenly erupted from Lin Dong's body, sweeping outward and ultimately pouring into the ancient cosmic formation. The formation began to operate, and a pillar of light suddenly roared downward, heading straight for the fourth king hall. The pillar of light instantly tore through the heavens and earth. Upon seeing this attack, the fourth king hall hesitated for a moment before swiftly retreating. Whoosh! The pillar missed its target, but did not vanish. It curved, then once again pursued the fourth king hall. Humph! Seeing the relentless attack, the fourth king hall snorted coldly. His hands quickly came together, then suddenly pulled apart, and an enormous black light shield instantly materialized. Boom! The pillar of light slammed into the black light shield with a tremendous impact, sending shockwaves that caused the ground below to collapse. The figure of the fourth king hall staggered back several steps before steadying himself. He looked indifferently at Lin Dong, who was still glaring at him, and gave a faint smile. A viscous, almost tangible demonic aura began to swirl in his palm. Even after such a fierce battle, you still have hidden means. You're not as simple as you seem. However, even so, I doubt today's outcome will change. As the fourth King Hall finished speaking, his figure surged forward once more, charging straight at Lin Dong, his murderous intent chilling to the bone. Lin Dong fixed his gaze on the incoming fourth King Hall. With a wave of his sleeve, a shadow dashed out, and a black long sword swung down fiercely, its blade splitting the air as it descended. The sword's aura was incredibly sharp. Even the fourth King Hall sensed its power. But strangely, he made no attempt to dodge. He allowed the black sword to strike him, and the blade passed through his body without resistance. Seeing this, Lin Dong's pupils suddenly contracted. He shouted sharply, "Huan Huan, be careful." As he turned, he saw the fourth King Hall materializing in front of Huan Huan. From the beginning, the fourth King Hall's target had been her. Heh, compared to dealing with the Ice Lord, you clearly aren't as important. The fourth King Hall sneered at Lin Dong, and then his hand swiftly reached for Huan Huan. Lin Dong's face darkened. With a thought, a piercing beam of light shot down from the ancient cosmic formation, heading straight for the fourth King Hall. Boom. But just as Lin Dong made his move, the ground beneath them suddenly cracked open, and a pillar of magma erupted from the earth, arriving just before the beam of light, blocking it in front of Huan Huan. The fourth King Hall's palm struck the magma pillar, turning his hand bright red. His face immediately changed drastically. His body moved to retreat, but, boom, as he was pulling back, a hand enveloped in magma emerged from the pillar and slammed fiercely into his chest. The fourth King Hall was sent flying, staggering through the air as he desperately tried to stabilize himself. His gaze turned dark as he glared at the magma pillar. What? The sudden eruption of the magma pillar surprised Lin Dong and the others. They all stared at the pillar as it slowly began to subside. Then, a tall figure gradually appeared before them. It was a tall man, dressed in golden robes, his fiery red hair flowing like molten lava. Just standing there, the temperature of the surrounding air seemed to rise. Lin Dong stared at this figure, his expression abruptly tightening. The appearance seemed strangely familiar. Among the many gazes, the red-haired man slowly turned his head, revealing a handsome yet authoritative face. At this moment, he didn't look at anyone else but instead focused his gaze on Huan Huan behind him. A gentle look appeared in his deep eyes.